Hello and welcome to the Bear Me Alive podcast.
I'm your host, Technicality.
And I'm your host, Ghostly.
Today we'll be going over Sasquatch, otherwise known as Bigfoot.
I'm excited. I'm super excited because he's a local for us. If you listened to our last Mothman episode, which you should, we mentioned that he's our local cryptid, and I'm very excited to cover him.
How much do you already know about Sasquatch?
Not actually that much, obviously, because, like I said, he's a local. I hear people talking about him. So I have that information from other people in our area, and I also have the information of watching that BuzzFeed Unsolved episode one time. And that's it.
So let's begin. Sasquatch, otherwise known as Bigfoot, is a story originating from the Pacific Northwest. Sasquatch is an angelicization of the name Saskets, meaning hairy man or wild man in Hulkamel. I don't actually know how to pronounce it.
Isn't that a native language?
Yeah, it's a Native
Okay.
American language.
Do you know what tribe it's language?
It said it somewhere, but I didn't actually write it fully because I couldn't pronounce the name.
It's probably Coast Salish.
He is often described as a large and hairy bipedal ape-like creature covered in dark black, brown, or reddish hair.
Red?
Yeah, there's a lot of different stories. It's been
Is it red with like blood? Or is he ginger?
we have a ginger Sasquatch.
A ginger Sasquatch. Oh, the horror.
There's been on and off of when the first official sighting of Sasquatch was. The story of Sasquatch is either tied to more recent things or can be tied all the way back to Native American stories, which have a very similar being, which is part of how Sasquatch got its name, to the ties to those stories. The first on record sighting of Sasquatch that I could find was in 1958. Woodworkers east and west of the Cascade Mountains began reporting seeing creatures and discovering large tracks on logging roads, which is how the Bigfoot name came along.
Which side of the Cascades?
It's both east and west, so it's around that area. We have other reports, such as the Dallas, Oregon, in 1971, where multiple people filed a police report. He was described as an overgrown ape with a human-ish face.
Human-ish?
Like a mix of an ape and a human. One man saw it through his rifle scope and couldn't shoot it because it looked more human than animal. So we still have that distinction in how it looks. He's often described as having broad shoulders, no neck, or at least visible neck, long arms, and is often compared to maybe being
Doesn't he
a
walk on his
bear
hind
by
legs, though?
critics.
Boy, do I have some news
he's
about bears.
bipedal. Some of the nighttime sightings have said the creature's eyes are glowing yellow or red, but eyeshine isn't present in humans or any known great apes, so it might be from owls.
Is it known in bears?
Here, let me look it up.
I've never had eye shine on a bear.
They have a yellow to red range of eyeshine, so that's fully within that possibility.
What's interesting about the bear theory is that bears can walk on their hind legs, obviously, but they only really do it in an attack position. So that would just mean a bear's walking around ready to attack 24/7.
Also, based on descriptions, it's roughly 6 to 9 feet with some people saying it could be 10 to 15 feet tall, which 10 to 15 feet tall, I'm not sure how you're getting around the woods.
Yeah, especially because of the kind of trees in the area. They typically aren't that tall.
They're tall, but the branches are low enough that you'd hit your head.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Um,
He probably has brain damage at this point.
some of the tracks were actually made by someone on purpose as a prank. The son of the guy who did it actually popularized Bigfoot in 1958 when he made plasters of the footprints and said they were real, that he found them. But later, after his father died, who had originally created the carved wooden feet that created the footprints, he announced that his father did it as a prank. So we have this, which it's weird, but the reportings of the Sasquatch started before that kind of stuff.
What's also confusing is that the son was in on it. He know it was a prank before the dad passed away? And he still made the plasters and sold them?
Articles aren't actually very clear on that, but
I'm pretty
the
sure my grandfather has one of those plasters somewhere.
the sightings in the Cascade Mountains did happen the same year. Ray Wallace did make those plasters and did make those things. So it is part of how that really happened. If it's placebo effect or them just seeing the plasters is still up for debate. But as I said earlier, the legend of Bigfoot actually ties into Native American stories, especially because in Native American stories, the Sasquatch-like beings are often invisible and cause mischief, but didn't actually cause any harm. Some people say that they went away when the white settlers came, so that's an interesting storyline, not storyline, but you get what I mean.
The lore.
The lore of the world. We're just covering
Yeah.
world lore for the Matt Pats of cryptids.
We're the Matt Pats of cryptids. That would actually could make sense to me if they went into hiding when colonists came, and then obviously they didn't just die after that. Maybe they did.
Dun dun dun.
The conspiracy grows.
Some Native Americans say that the Sasquatch was seen as a symbol of good luck. There are even Native American Sasquatch masks that highly resemble the modern depiction of the Sasquatch. So that really ties in to how the story has developed over time and how popularized this image of Sasquatch has become. From Clara Pearson's Tales of Nehem Tillamook, members of the Plateau tribes, such as the Warm Springs Reservation, identify Bigfoot as a stick Indian, a diverse category of potentially hostile beings who stole salmon or confused people by whistling, causing them to become lost. So there are different stories the Sasquatch could tie into.
Wait, can they draw back to the whistling really quick? So how does that work? Would they whistle, pretend to be a bird or something to distract hunters? Or do they have magic whistles that make people lost?
I'm not actually sure, but some people have said it does make you a bit crazy if you see it. So,
The Sasquatch?
yeah. There are a lot of conflicting stories around Sasquatch, which makes sense. It's a cryptid. That story has been spread over years and years and years.
If you go crazy after you see a Sasquatch, most people in our area would be crazy because it's kind of hard to leave the house and not see a Sasquatch somewhere.
The Sasquatch plushie is staring you down.
I know. My mom has a Sasquatch in her car.
But I think it's in reference to the actual Sasquatch,
Okay.
not the...
Not my mom's little Sasquatch on the dashboard.
Another thing that I find interesting is there aren't just encounters of the footprints, because that could be waved off by people playing pranks. But there have actually been sightings of this creature in the woods by multiple people throughout the years. And it can't just be all people pretending or doing a prank. There are thousands of sightings of Bigfoot all over, entire documentaries of what people have found.
Aren't there also photographs? I remember, of course I've seen photographs of him, but I can't remember if those were proven to be fake or not.
Some were proven to be fake, but I'm not sure if all of them were.
Because I know there's more than one. I've met someone who's seen Sasquatch before.
What did they say?
They, I don't know how much. It was a while ago, so I don't know how much to trust this person. But they said that they were camping with their son, and they saw a person in the woods, and they were a bit confused because the person seemed to be lost. And when they went over to check on the person, like, it ended up being 7 feet tall or something and was really hairy. They're like, "You're not a person," and they just ran away.
Why would you run away? That's just sad.
I know. We've said this about Mothman. I think this applies to Sasquatch as well. If you see a cryptid in the woods, go up to it, talk to it, try and get a signature, try and take a picture with it. We are not reliable for any deaths from this, but we want to know.
Please do not sue us for injuries incurred.
We're just giving you ideas.
We just told you how to do this. We didn't actively encourage you while sitting waiting for images to come in. We are definitely not encouraging to go out into the woods right now and look for cryptids and then send us the images.
Why would you ever think we would do such a thing?
We definitely never.
No, us?
Why would we do that? That's just ridiculous. Now you're making conspiracy theories.
Why would the people who go ghost hunting tell you to go into the woods and look for paranormal activity? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Another thing that's mentioned a lot about Sasquatch is he doesn't show up on camera a lot. Like, he avoids any sort of camera. Not all the time, because obviously the pictures of Sasquatch, but like, he's very evasive of cameras and recording devices.
Doesn't like flash photography?
Which sort of feeds into the invisibility bit, which would be very interesting.
Is he known to be seen at night or during the day more? Do you know?
More nocturnal, if I have read correctly, but I could be wrong. Just want to put in a short disclaimer here. A lot of articles around Sasquatch contradict themselves.
Yeah.
So it's all based on theories and random knowledge. If I get something wrong, I apologize.
Do your own research. If this is interesting to you.
Yeah, don't trust random people on the internet. What's wrong with you? Why would you do that?
Also, if you're genuinely interested in anything we're saying at any time, please do your own research. We want to encourage people to do what they like. So if you want to learn more about Sasquatch, go and find some resources. Let us know what you find. We would love to hear it.
Also, someone actually claimed to know what Bigfoot smells like.
What?
Michael Rugg, the owner of the Bigfoot Discovery Museum, claims to have smelled Bigfoot, stating, "Imagine a skunk that had rolled around in dead animals and had hung out around garbage pits."
What?
I don't know how he got this, but...
Yeah, did he... What? What? What?
Yep. Now you have that information. You can't unlearn
Get
that.
your Sasquatch perfume today, I guess.
Please do not roll around in garbage to try and find a Sasquatch. That is not a good idea.
No, yeah, it's not. That's how you get multiple diseases. But, what? That's the weirdest thing. Out of all the things to claim to know about a cryptid, to know how they smell like, I spend too much time researching cryptids, and I've never had someone say that they know what the cryptid smells like.
Yeah, it's interesting, but as I said, all the stories of Bigfoot have been so wildly varied. It's been a time.
If he's known for having a lot of fur, there is a chance that it's very dense, especially because of our climate. He would need to stay warm and dry. So it could be like a sloth. He has his own little um, ecosystem in his fur, and that's why he smells that way.
That might be the case. And I imagine, and because it's very rainy here on the Pacific Northwest, it could also contribute to that. But anyway, one of the first official records of him, except for Native American stories, one of the first historical records of Bigfoot in Oregon country begins in 1904 with sightings of a hairy wild man by settlers in the Sixes River area in the Coast Range. Similar accounts by miners and hunters followed later in later decades. In 1924, miners on Mount St. Helens claimed to have been attacked by giant apes, and an incident widely reported on it in the Oregon press, which is interesting. This was one of the first, like, widely known stories of Bigfoot.
It's interesting that it was in the 1920s.
Yeah, this was way before the fake feet were made.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Especially because we don't have apes here.
Yeah, we have no apes unless they're like in a wildlife conservation or a zoo.
And they would not be on top of Mount St. Helens.
No, that is not a climate for any ape. And you said they attacked?
According to the report, yeah, they attacked the miners. So, second cryptid found in a mine.
The only thing I remember from the BuzzFeed Unsolved episode I watched is that Ryan wore a helmet because he had a history, Sasquatch had a history of hitting people over the head with rocks. Do you think that came from the Mount St. Helens climbers?
Probably, actually. Is, as I said, there's been wildly differing stories of whether Sasquatch is good or not. Mm-hmm. Which leads to me to believe maybe there's multiple Sasquatches. Especially because they claimed that they were attacked by giant apes, plural.
Multiple, yep. We want a little, maybe there's just like a little Sasquatch family with the happy parents and the troubled kids.
Or the troubled parents and the happy kids.
The troubled parents with happy kids. Well, no, if it's happy parents.
The divorced parents arguing and then just throwing rocks at people when they try to get into the arguments.
Oh my god! No, my thought process was the parents are happy because in Native American stories they were positive and then the kids became troubled. Maybe after the parents got divorced, I don't know. But the troubled kids were the modern day sightings.
Sasquatch lore.
So much lore.
How do you even refer to it? Because it is lore, but it's also kind of real life, but it's also...
It's folklore.
Yeah. Sasquatch is canon.
Sasquatch is canon. We all know that. We all know. Do you know the most recent sighting?
October 11th, Bigfoot was spotted in Colorado.
Colorado?
Yeah.
This year?
Yep.
What? Okay. So, the sightings started in Oregon. Obviously, we have some in Washington. And I know some in Idaho. How did it get to Colorado?
It went on a vacation to get away from the divorced parents.
Oh, you just sent me a picture. Are they wearing sunglasses?
I'm not sure, but that was the image.
For context, Technicality just sent me the picture of the sighting. And it looks like they're wearing sunglasses. What?
It could just be a very hairy tourist.
Is this a scarecrow? That looks like a scarecrow to me. A very hairy tourist. It could be. Like, I could see it. They have a really bad haircut and a beard, and they're wearing sunglasses and, like, a fur coat. That's really weird.
Apparently it was seen in Colorado.
Why are they wearing sunglasses? Yeah, I don't know why I'm
Imagine.
so stuck on the sunglasses. It genuinely looks
New
like it.
lore just dropped. Sasquatch's son wears sunglasses to differentiate
The
himself.
Sasquatch Lake
Yeah,
sunglasses?
that's the most recent sighting.
It was this year, 2023.
Yep.
Okay. Colorado. What is happening in Colorado?
Wait, I just scrolled down, and October 12th, 2023, there's Bigfoot sightings in Indiana.
Indiana? Isn't that on the other side of the country?
Yeah.
Sasquatch, man, where are you? Maybe they're on a road trip?
The top of this article just says that he's been in Indiana since 1975.
What? Okay, so that would be more proof that there's a little family.
Many Sasquatches all over.
Indiana stealing our cryptid. What the heck?
Get your own cryptid.
Yeah, if you're a listener from Indiana or even Colorado, get your own cryptid. Sasquatch is ours. Any information on behaviors?
As I said earlier, he can either well, the Sasquatch can either be described as mischievous but harmless, good luck, or something that was gonna mess you up. So very much different depending on the encounter.
Yeah. Do we know like who's reporting what? We know that it's typically Native Americans saying it's good luck and mischief is what you said. But do we know about the difference between the cruel behaviors and positive behaviors?
We have the cruel behaviors with the miners in St. Helens. We have not very specific. A lot of them are just seeing Bigfoot from afar, so there's not as many recounts of active
What
behavior.
I see as interesting is that in the traditional stories told by indigenous peoples, he isn't actively malicious. But in more recent stories, he is. And what I'm wondering is if wasn't it said that there was a theory that he disappeared after the area was colonized?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
so
maybe attacking, colonizing.
yeah, do you see what I'm
Da,
connecting here?
da, da, da.
Connecting the dots? I have a string board of
Yeah.
Sasquatch sightings.
Just red strings all the way around your room.
Yeah.
Do you have a string board? Like an actual one?
Okay.
I know you have boards that are on your phone, but do you have an actual
No,
string board?
I don't. Yeah, I have digital string boards. I don't have a physical one at the moment. Back to Sasquatch.
There might be some scholarly bias here. Dr. Johnson said that he saw Bigfoot before while hiking with his family in the Oregon caves of the National Monument. He said he ventured off the trail, looked up into the trees, and came eye to eye with Bigfoot. Uh, and
In the trees?
yep,
How is he in the trees?
I'm not sure.
I thought he was 7 foot tall. I thought he was like 7 foot tall and looked like an ape. How is he in the trees?
Again, the reports of Bigfoot are so vastly differing, it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
I thought my plan if I saw a Bigfoot and they started trying to attack me is I climb up into the tree because then they can't get me. You telling me that if a Sasquatch tries to attack me, I'm not safe then?
I think you should bring up its mother.
I'll bring up its mother. I'll start insulting its
I
mother.
think that will save you. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to deal with a Sasquatch, people. If you ever see a Sasquatch and it starts attacking you, start bringing up its mother's
Oh
divorce.
my god! Well, at least my parents are still married. Then they just start crying.
Yep, just emotionally damage them. You got this.
You got this. Emotionally score the Sasquatch. Go on.
I apologize to any Sasquatches listening right now.
Yes, we always apologize to the cryptids.
It's funny because with any of these, you just have to take a second to imagine what a cryptid would look like. Just staring at an iPhone or listening to it in the middle of the woods, just sitting there.
Maybe that's why I was in the tree. I was trying to get cell reception.
Yeah, just waving its phone around like, Dad won't buy home internet. We need to run into the trees to get cellular.
It's the funniest thing to me thinking about what cryptids do in their free time. Because we talked about with Mothman, how we theorize that he likes to hang out and Google himself online. I think Sasquatch would be more the type. They seem more traditional. I think they would rather be searching through the newspapers.
Ah, yes. Just Sasquatch sitting on a chair, reading through the newspaper.
Like a big old rocking chair with its sunglasses on.
Mm.
It has to have the sunglasses.
Now Sasquatch now has canonical sunglasses.
We're
We're making
manifesting it.
this a thing. Everyone, if you ever draw a Sasquatch, draw it with sunglasses, no matter what.
It has to have sunglasses. It's mandatory.
Obvious. Yeah, I think I've gone through my notes.
All right, I have some questions. Got
Okay.
questions. So the first recorded sighting was 1904, except the stories from the native peoples. So how is it still? Do you know anything of how it got so popularized today?
It really became popularized after 1958 when the fake footprints were made, because that's what sparked a lot of the interest in searching for Bigfoot. You also have the fact that before, yes, it was in the newspaper, it was in the press, but it's only more recently that it was spread so far around, like beyond local area, as far as I'm aware. So having more people looking into it probably sparked the interest in it and snowballed it
Yeah.
from there.
What's interesting to me about it is typically if you see a cryptid, people link it to other paranormal activity. Has he been linked to any other paranormal activity, or do they just appear and that's it?
As far as I'm aware,
They've been linked with like going crazy and good luck and stuff, but is it like UFOs linked to it or power outages, things like that?
as far as recent descriptions, as far as I'm aware, it's only been the Sasquatch, nothing else. Like with the Native American stories, it ties it to the good luck part to certain things happening, like good things, but not much else besides the invisibility in terms of paranormal activity.
I think that when a
So,
cryptid is, or creature in folklore in this case, is powerful in any way, I think paranormal activity linked to that is pretty natural.
it just is paranormal activity. It doesn't need to cause any.
No. Themself is otherworldly occurrence.
Sasquatch, you're good enough on your own. You don't need to cause paranormal activity. You are the paranormal activity. We support you.
We support all the Sasquatch, no matter if you're hanging out with us in the Pacific Northwest or if you're hanging out in Indiana. As long as you're not in Colorado, we don't like you in Colorado, but we support you. All cryptids, we support you. I enjoyed this episode. This was an interesting one just because I feel like this one's more impactful for us in particular as the locals. Or technically, he's the local.
We are in the
Yeah,
area.
he's the local.
Yeah,
Res-
he's been here longer than us.
yeah, respect the locals, people. This is. I'm gonna take this moment to promote making sure that you're with ethical consumption because a lot of things in the Pacific Northwest we've been having issues with our forests and deforestation. So please look into where you're getting products like wood because we need to protect the Sasquatch homes.
Don't do this for the local animals. Do it for Sasquatch.
He is one of the local animals.
Do this to protect your local cryptid. Save the
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah, save the environment. We need to keep the cryptids' homes. Do you have any closing comments?
Be the Bigfoot you want to see in the world.
We thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Bury Me Alive podcast.
And we hope to see you next time.
Make sure you try and support us in whatever way you can, as long as you're even just watching this episode helps us out, and to help spread the education of our local cryptids. It means so much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.